the persecution. Through all of this, he chose time to caress moms. In the tomb, and I'm talking about specifically the tomb of Lazarus, you think about this. God comforted moms. And through his own death on the cross, he cared for moms. Even in his dying hour, in John 19, 26 and 27, we find that when Jesus therefore saw his mother and the disciples standing by whom he loved, he said to his mother, "Woman, behold your son." And then he said to his disciples, with his dying breath, church, he looked at his mom and took care of her. He said, "You, son, behold your mother." And from that hour, that disciple took her into his own home. With his dying breath, he chose. No, yes, he talked about forgiveness and he talked about all of that. But he looked at his mom and made sure that she was taken care of. That is what God himself, in the form of his son, thought about mamas. Oh, you hear us talk about mama over here. And yeah, we call her mama, and that's something that we, Dad just stuck that term on her forever. And she has become everybody's mom over the years. She is truly deemed and termed mama. And some of you, I hear you talk about that. And I say that for you that, again, some of you who have moms who are your spouse, who are not in this building, my heart is out to you. And I know there's an emptiness and an ache there, and I wish I could feel that or help. And I know no one can. And you would not want anyone to do that. For those of you who are, your mom is not able to be here, I am so blessed and fortunate to have my mother and my mother-in-law as well with me on this earth. And we're going to spend time with both of them today, and I hope that you do as well. You're able to do that. Cherish those days. For those of you who don't have your mom here, my heart aches for you as well. And for as many as I could remember in my mind, I prayed this morning. And for those I couldn't remember specifically your name, I said, God, be with those who don't have their mom with them today and are not able to be here or be with them today. In Exodus, we find a story, and I've never used this for a Mother's Day story, but all week when I began to think about a scripture to use, I just couldn't get this off my mind. And it is where you think about, let me just give you give you a little bit of history here. Joseph has done his thing and saved the people of Israel. He has, you remember all about the famine and all that, and how he has brought his mom and his dad out of the famine and his whole family, and the children of Israel began to grow and prosper in Egypt. Well, the Pharaoh that loved Joseph has died and has now become quite concerned that these Israelis, these Israelites, if you will, these ones that call them the children of Israel, are growing. They're multiplying even more so than the Egyptians. He said, man, we got to stop that. So he just put out an edict and said to midwives, you midwives that are helping birth these children, he said, if they're boy babies, he said, you're going to have to do something about it. He said, kill them. He said, let the women, the girl babies survive. Well, these midwives feared God and just decided not to do that. And they told Pharaoh, hey, I'm going to paraphrase this, said, these Israelite women are tough. Said they're having babies without midwives. They just have them before we get there, and it's all done. We can't keep up with it. So he just put it out to the whole country, and he said, all right, I'm going to let you handle it yourself. If you have a male child born, I want you to kill that child. You got to understand this. Now, undoubtedly, this was happening because the Bible didn't say anything about it, because in Exodus chapter 2, we hear of a child being born, and for some reason, this mother decided to step out of the norm. Let me just read it for you. Exodus chapter 2, begin with verse 1. And there went a man of the house of Levi and took a wife, a daughter of Levi. And the woman conceived and bare a son, and when she saw him, that he was a goodly child, she hid him 3 months. When she could no longer hide him, she took him for an ark of the bulrushes and daubed it with slime and pitch and put the child therein, and she laid it in the flags, or what we would probably call cattails, by the river's brink. And his sister stood afar off to wit what would be done with him. She wanted to see what was happening. And the daughter of Pharaoh came down to wash herself at the river, and her maidens walked along by the river's side, and when she saw the ark among the flags, she sent her maid to fetch it. And when she had opened it, she saw the child, and behold, the babe wept. She had compassion on him and said, "This is one of the Hebrews' children." Then said his sister to Pharaoh's daughter, "Shall I go and call thee a nurse of the Hebrew women, that she may nurse of the child for you?" Do you understand what has just happened here? Mama got scared. She wasn't going to kill him. She had faith enough to put him in what they call it, a little ark or a basket, laid him by the river as if it had floated up. Had sister stand by and watch what went on. And she knew where Pharaoh's daughter bathed every day. Pharaoh's daughter came down, opened the basket, and then the daughter just steps out of the scene. Now imagine that. She just steps up and says, "Hey, would you like for me to find somebody to take care of that baby?" How amazing. And Pharaoh's daughter said, "Go." And the maid went and called the child's mother. And Pharaoh's daughter said to her, "Take this child away and nurse it for me. Now I'll give you my wages, and I'll give you your wages." And the woman took the child and nursed it, and the child grew and brought him to Pharaoh's daughter, and he became her son, and she called his name Moses, and she said, "Because I drew him out of the water." Now I want to draw your attention for just a few moments to a key verse. The key verse to me is verse 2. All right? Guys, bring up verse 2 for me. The key verse is this: "And the woman conceived and bare a son, and when she saw him." I love that. It didn't say when she thought. It didn't say she just decided. The Bible said when she saw him. Now this is interesting. That word "saw" is translated in a word that means she saw deep within him. And it goes on in a minute to talk about a goodly child, to kind of explain that even further. Do you know that, hey folks, guys, you know this, don't you? Men, dads, you know this. Moms see things that men do not see. You call it mother's intuition. You call it whatever you want to. God placed it within the heart of ladies to see things that we don't see. Those of you that have ever sat through my counseling or premarital or any kind of, you know that, and you can translate it, the love languages, you can translate it any way you want to. But quite frankly, it is a proven fact that men are driven towards significant. Men, they just want to do something that's significant in the world. That's why we go through the midlife crisis. All right? Because we look back and we go, okay, what I have done hasn't left a big enough impact. Ladies are driven to security and for security. And because they are driven for security, and everything is a defense mechanism in their life, and they are driven to see things that we don't see. God placed that within her, and this mother is no different. She saw something, and the Bible says she saw something goodly. Now this is a great word. It is pronounced, it is written as Tawbi, T-A-W-B in the Hebrew. But it is pronounced T-O-B-E. Basically, it would be to be for us. And you say, well, what does that make? Okay, if you look at the base meaning, this is so cool. This word, when it said she saw something goodly in this child, it means she looked deep inside. This word can be used, all right, not only saw what he was, she saw something from a baby, looked in this child. Now, I know we can be very spiritual here, and it should be. We should be very spiritual and say, wait a minute, God placed that within her. This was God's plan. Yes, but Mama had to see it. You notice Dad's not anywhere around really here. Mom had to see this. She saw something that no one else saw. Because this word goodly can be used as an adjective to describe how good this child was. It can be used as a noun. It covers all spectrums. In other words, it could be used as a noun that says it could be used in both the masculine and the feminine. It was a word that she meant, and God meant for you to understand that she saw things no one else could see. It could be used in the singular or the plural. It could be used to mean good, that good thing. It can be used to mean a good man or a good woman. It can be used to say the good in him. Or, this is so cool, we would say, he got the goods. He got game. All right, how's that? Is that better? Everybody understand that? Say, uh-huh. Only athletes went, uh-huh. No, everybody under 30 did that. The adults went, I don't know what you're talking about. All right? She saw even the good things in him. It can be used as an adverb. She also saw that he would do well, or that he would do all things well. Now understand this. In the humanity of Moses, he didn't do all of the human things really well, all right, because he made some mistakes. But he did the things of God very well. And in the end result, she saw something. Now, do I think that she looked to see that one day that he would be who he is in the Bible? No, she had no idea about that. But she saw something. Number one, moms see dazzling beauty. Now, you think about this. Be honest with me. All right, don't raise your hand. And guys, you better just sit here and look forward. Don't even look at your wife when I say this, because if you do, you're about to get yourself in trouble. How many really pretty babies have you ever seen? You think about it. Onion head, big ears, big nose. Now I'm going to tell you, I've seen a few beautiful babies. I really have. Man, those babies that are born with a full head of hair and jet black hair, and I want to say, that hair ain't going to be black all your life. It's may turn blonde, and eventually it's going to turn gray. And if it's a boy, someday it's going to turn loose, and you're going to be an onion head one way or another. But you know what? She looked at that baby, and she saw a beauty. Now, I'm going to prove that in a minute. She saw something dazzling about this boy. Moms, thank you for seeing something dazzling in us. When everybody looked at us after we were born and walked away and looked at their husband or wife and said, that's the ugliest baby I've ever seen in my life. Did you see those monkey ears on that kid? And that mom goes, isn't it the most beautiful thing in the world? Moms, thank you for seeing that in us. She saw danger. In verse 3, she saw danger. Now think about this. And when she could no longer hide him, she took an ark and she built that ark. Mom sees danger when nobody else sees it. Mom sees danger. I'm going to tell you a true story. Some of you have heard it so many times because it's so prevalent in my life. I got with a group in college that I shouldn't have gotten with, and thank God for a group that were involved in, back then it was a Baptist Student Union, a group of girls and guys who I ran around with a bunch of wild football players, and they kind of got me out of it. And one particular night I was supposed to go partying to a certain place with the guys, and some girls came along, because the guys knew, some of those guys that didn't play football, they said, y'all going to have to go get Daryl, because if we go, he's not going to go with us. So they sent 3 or 4 girls to come by my dorm and said, come on, you don't need to go with them tonight. We know where they're going. Nah, I better hang out with the guys. You know, I'm the one that gets them home. They said, no, we're going to get you home. So you're coming with us. I said, all right, I'll go. Where are we going? We're going bowling. We're going bowling. Okay, I'll go. I'll go. So I go bowling that night. And we come back, and we're all cool, and I get a phone call about 4 o'clock one morning. The next morning. And it was from that group of guys, and they said, Daryl, you're going to have to come get us. We've had a car accident. Andy totaled his car, and it's a bad deal. Now, you got to understand this thing. You got to understand this situation. Guys always go and they sit in the same place, right? You've seen that commercial about the guy that gets the new car and they're going to a football game and the guy's mad because he won't let him drive because he says, okay, we're going to lose if we don't sit in the same place. Guys are really like that. They really are. Andy sat here, Jim sat here, Bob sat here, and I sat on the passenger side in the back. That's the way it was. If I drove, we had the same seating arrangements. I get up and I go down there, and about somewhere between 4 and 4:30 that morning, Andy lost control of the car coming back and slid into a telephone pole or a tree. I don't remember. But here's what's amazing. Those 3 came away with bruises and scratches and all that, but here's what was said. Daryl, man, if you'd have been, I can't believe that. If you'd have been in that car, man, you'd be dead. And they all laughed and we all laughed. But I looked and where my seat was no longer there. There was a telephone pole imprint. Now here's what I'm getting at. By 6:30 or 7 the next morning, I get another knock on my door. This time, it was before, I know kids, grab your seat and hold on, guys. It was before cell phones. We didn't even have a phone in our dorm room. We had a community phone in the washroom. Daryl, you got a phone call. Tell them to call back. It's your mama. I'm up. Yeah, Mom. She said, what's going on? I said, I don't know what you're talking about, Mom. What is going on? Mom, I'm serious. What are you? She said, Daryl, now listen to this. Mom, am I telling the truth? God got me up at 4 o'clock this morning. Now understand, I'm 6 hours away. God got me up at 4 o'clock this morning, and I've been praying for you all night. I got up, haven't been back to bed. What went on? And I broke. I said, Mom, you're not going to believe this. Andy had a wreck, totaled his car last night, and there's a telephone pole where my seat was. Mom, if I'd have been there, I'd have died. She said, I know that. I've been praying for you all night long. Mom, thank you. I got a card every day. Almost every day of the week, I got a card. My whole wall was lined with cards from Mom. You say, you actually put those things up in your room, you mama's boy. Yeah, but all the football players who didn't have that would come in my room and they'd say, man, wish my mom would write me like that. Moms, thank you for seeing stuff we don't see. Thank you for seeing danger in our lives. She saw the danger in that. Thirdly, when Mom sees danger, she sees direction. Mom's got a plan when no one else does. Now, I didn't say Mom knows directions. No, I didn't say that. Although Mom does know directions, guys drive around forever and ever and ever. Or some guys just follow their son-in-law into the middle of nowhere. And women are going, well, check your, what is your GPS? Anita sitting on the other side said, what does your GPS say, Daryl? Well, it says turn back up there. Well, why don't we do it? Well, I'm going to let Stevie follow. We're just going to follow. It'll be all right. We don't have anywhere to go. That's the way we are. But Mom sees direction. When she sees danger, she sees direction as well. And she begins, Proverbs 31 tells all about a virtuous woman and how she prepares for the family. She cooks for them. She clothes them. She does all of those things. Mom does things and sees danger and sees a direction that sometimes we can't see. There have been many times in my life to where I've said, now understand this, in our marriage, Anita can tell you, I don't think I have ever in 33 years said, I'm the man of this house and this is the way it's going to be. No. You've not seen me come back to church with 2 black eyes, so you know I haven't said that to her. But there have been many times where I've said, I think and I see that look. Guys, how many of you know the look? Raise your hand. The rest of you are liars. They have that look. And I said, okay, what do you think? Well, I tell you, and you know what? 100% of the time she's been right. I don't remember a time she's been wrong. Why? Because God has given them that something that says, I sense danger. This lady sensed danger. And then they give them something about, okay, well, what would you do, honey? What do you think? I don't know, I think maybe sound like a good plan to me. And that's what happened. Now watch this. You see, even in Hebrews, the faith chapter, Hebrews chapter 11, even the faith writer said, by faith Moses, when he was born, was hid 3 months of his parents, of his mama, and they saw a proper child and they were not afraid of the king's commandment. Mom sees distinction. Terry, Mom saw something in you that she didn't see in me. Mom saw a lot in Monica she didn't see in us. That's why Terry and I got beat to death. I'm just kidding. Monica never had a whipping in her life. They saw something different. Mom sees distinction. She saw a distinction. How do you know that, Pastor? Well, because finally she saw deliverance. She looked and she saw. Now, this is amazing to me. It's one thing for her to see something in that child. That's one thing. It's another thing. Now, listen. It's another thing for Mom to see something and know. Now, this is what amazes me. That somebody else way down the road is going to look to that child and see that same thing. How do moms know that? Dads are going, oh, I'm going to kill him. I don't know what. I'll never forget, I had a guy say something about his son one day. He said, I'm just going to tell you something. So they tell me there's a fine line between idiot and genius, and my son is straddling the line. And Mom was saying, he'll be fine. And Mom saw something here. You say, Pastor, how do you know that? Well, it said, and when Pharaoh's daughter opened it, she, what? The child, everybody say that word. She turned to, bring it up, verse 6, guys. There we go. Now, everybody read this with me. And when she had opened it, she, guess what? I looked it up to make sure. I wanted to see, okay, was this word the same or was it different? Because, there are all kind of different words in the Greek and Hebrew, and they mean different things. Guess what? It's the same word. Pharaoh's daughter, this is so cool. Pharaoh's daughter opened that basket and saw that child exactly like the child's mama saw him. How cool is that? How did she know? Mama knows that people are going to see something in us that no one else is going to see. Mama knows that there are qualities in us, and how she sees that when we are young, I have no idea, but she does. Moms, thank you for seeing something in me. Some of you ladies that are not even my mom, somehow or another over these years, through all of the hound dogs, the wrecked cars, the girlfriends, I'm sorry, Nita, all those kind of things that you saw me go through, and yet you still allow me to be one of your pastors. Thank you, moms. Thank you, Mom, for seeing something in me that most people never saw. And I'm not sure I ever saw it myself, and still don't. Moms, thank you for looking deep within us and seeing something that no one else sees. She saw deliverance. Now listen. First of all, She saw deliverance for her pain. She saw, oh, there's a way that I don't have to kill my child. God has provided a way. Secondly, she saw deliverance, obviously, for her child. There's a deliverance here. I know God's going to do something. That's faith, folks. And finally, I don't know that she knew exactly how, because we find out later in Exodus when Moses kills the Egyptian, runs away and comes back, that his mom kind of indicates, I knew this, I told you this, God's prepared you for this day, you're going to lead us out. And yet she saw it. Now understand this, I need to tell you about Moses. Moses started out as a basket case. You'll get that later about dinner. He was in denial. Get it? The Nile. Okay. Later on in his life, now listen, he saw visions. He was a murderer. He stuttered. He was a snake handler. He was a rock striker. He was a commandment breaker, literally. He was a wanderer. But somehow or another, Mom saw that he would lead his people from Egypt. Maybe not exactly like that, but he knew that she knew there was something special. You know what, church? Isn't that a picture of God and His love for us? Some people saw me as a hypocrite. Those years of my life that I went the wrong direction, how could I do that? How could I do that with the raising and the training that I'd had? But God saw something special, and He didn't give up on me. He knew that one day I'd be telling somebody about Jesus. Guess what? God sees what others can't see in you. There's something special in you. Every one of you have a direction, have a purpose, and God wants to send you on that path. And He loved you so much that He gave His only Son to die for you. And you can have that deliverance in your life. Now, before I read this last little thing, I want you to bow your head with me for just a moment. If you've never accepted Jesus Christ as your personal Savior, you don't know Him, you've heard about Him, but maybe you've just never said, Jesus, I ask you to come into my heart. I want you to pray this prayer with me right now. Maybe you have, but you just are not satisfied, and maybe through the avenue of this story about a mom, you see the love of Jesus. And you want to accept Him as your personal Savior, then I want you to do that right now. I want you to say, Dear God, I know I am a sinner. I ask you right now to forgive me of my sins. I believe Jesus died for me and loved me enough to go to the cross and was buried and rose again on the third day and was my sacrifice. I surrender my heart and my life to Jesus right now. Please save me. Give me a home in heaven. If you prayed that prayer for the first time and you meant it deep within your heart, I will not call you out. You have my word. I'll just pray for you. Would you raise your hand? Anyone who prayed that prayer for the first time? Father God, I love you. I thank you for these moms who are here and those who love Jesus Christ and those who want to know more about Him. Lord, let us learn from these stories that our love for one another, that you instill deep